There are two different kind of radios when it comes to the shape or the form of the radio. You have small PlayStation style radios like the Jumper T Lite or the Beta FPV Lite radio or the Tango 2 radio from TBS. And you have what I call full-size radio, big radios, like the FR Sky radio like this one, or the one that is my main driver today, the Radiomaster TX16S. I like big radios, and it's basically just because how they sit in my hands and the weight that you have when you are flying. I don't think anything else than that. And today I'm going to show you how to do some customizations and some changes to a radio like the TX16S, so it looks cooler or it looks more customized to you. I like to have unique things. I like something that I like a lot from the FPV hobby is that you can do your own things. You create your own drone and you can make these radios to look better and to feel better for your own use. So let's start with one very simple one, the custom butt-up screen. When you turn on the radio, you have a custom screen here with the image of whatever you want. As long as you feed that image in a specific format and size, you can have there whatever you want. This is nothing that is specific for the Radiomaster TX16S. This is something that is a feature of the Radio's OS, the OpenTX, which means that any radio using the same OS should be capable of having a custom boot-up screen. The difference is that on radios like this one, where you have a monochrome screen, the image is just going to be two colors. And in radios like the Jumper or even the Tango, where you have a very small screen, you're gonna be limited by the space that you have there. But something that is cool on the Radiomaster is that the screen is color, it's quite big, and then you can get creative and have there anything that you want. In a very similar way to the custom boot-up screen, you can change the screen that you have all the time on your radio. This is what they call the background image. And like the custom boot-up screen, as long as you have the right format and the right size, you just move that image file into the right folder in your SD card, and then you're gonna have that nice background screen whenever you want. Producing images is nothing that is very complicated, but something else that you can do in these radios is to have custom sounds. Producing sounds is a little bit more complicated because maybe you have to have different tools and you have to have a nice voice or these kind of things. But on these radios, on the TX16S, you can record or you can download custom sounds and assign them to different actions on your radio. Like for example, when you turn on the TX16S, it greets you and say something like, welcome to OpenTX or something like that. You can change that welcome message for anything that you want as long as you record it and you save it on the right place on the SD card. But again, you can create other actions on your radio and you can assign sounds to those actions, customizing the whole workflow that you have when you are with your radio. If you want notifications around the battery and you have that information from your telemetry, you just need to record that sound or download it from somewhere else and you will have it there. The next upgrade is something completely aesthetical. On radios like this one, you can change the side and add these leather pads here, which make the radio look a little bit more fancy. There is a version of the TX16S which is called the TX16X Max, which comes by default with these leather sides. But you can also buy them separately and just change it on your radio. The same leather side that works on the Radiomaster work on the Jumper T16. So you can use them if you want. And I know that on radios like this one, you sometime can buy or do yourself some kind of padding that you can put on the side to have better grip on the radio. In my case, as I was saying, for the Radiomaster, I think it's just something aesthetical. I don't think that it changed a lot the way that I feel or that I'm using the radio, but I do think that it looks pretty cool to have it. The next change that I'm going to talk about, it might be one of the only ones that actually changes the way that you fly. And if you think about the stick that comes with your radio, it's very thin, very small, and you can change it to something bigger. For example, in my case, I'm a thumber. I use my thumbs to control the sticks, and I like the fact of having a bigger area and some kind of stickiness to the stick, so I can move better and I don't lose any time the movement of the sticks because I missed the stick or something. If you are a pincher, it might be that you still like that small thin stick end that it's originally found on the radios. But in my case, that I'm a thumber, I think one of the first things that I did when I had my radio was to change it. If you see, even on this one that I have, which is my second radio, I also changed the sticks to something better, that has better grip for my thumbs. Another change that I think is completely aesthetical, but I do think that gives a nice touch to the radio, is these nuts for the switches. You can find a huge amount of different colors here that you can change your switch nuts and have that nice touch around the radio to personalize and to have something very unique. If you look at my radio, inside the gimbals, we have this color, orange in this case. They are spacers that you can put between the gimbal and the radio, which makes the stick to be deeper. And a lot of people is talking about saying that when you have a different length on your stick, you have a different touch when you're flying. I don't really understand the idea behind it, but you have more travel or less travel depending on the depth of your gimbals. And the only thing that I'm going to say is that when you are changing or adding this, you have to think that you need longer screws now to hold your gimbal inside. I didn't have those screws and I had my radio open and I changed it, or I was trying to change it, and I had to keep the radio open for a few days until I actually found the right screws that fit in that place. So keep that in mind if you are trying to change yours. When it comes to those spacers, there are some that are actually LED, and you can have some colors and lights there. I'm totally not into LEDs, and I think like you don't really look at your radio when you're flying, you have your goggles on. So for me, that's nothing really important. But again, this is about making your radio unique, and what more unique than having LEDs on the radio like that, right? Radiomaster launched in 2021 some CNC gimbals, which people are liking it quite a lot. They are very special, they are very hard or very solid, and people is saying that the feeling when you're flying with those ones is pretty good. The price is also actually a little bit expensive, and I haven't tested myself, but if you are looking to have something unique in your radio and you want to upgrade the gimbals in your radio, the CNC gimbals from Radiomaster could be a good option. I'm not sure if they fit in any other radio than the Radiomaster TX16S, but they are available. This one I'm not sure that I can call it a customization. It might be more like an upgrade, but in general, radios should have an external module so you can upgrade and you can choose different radio protocols to have in your radio. Bays like this one allows you to add, for example, in this case, Express LRS, or for example in this case crossfire. That's something that for me it's essential on a radio. And again, adding a model, I don't see it as a customization. I don't think that it's also an upgrade, it's just a necessity. But something that is pretty cool is that you can actually add those models in order to have your radio compatible with the protocol that you want. So that's one for the list. The last one that I want to talk about is OpenTX substitution, which is called EdgeTX. There is some story that you can go on and check on the internet about why EdgeTX came out, and we can summarize it to the slow development of OpenTX. But now we have it. OpenTX is a replacement or an alternative to OpenTX. It's not completely done, and I would say that if you are new to the hobby or you don't want to get into a lot of troubles, you might hold up a little bit longer, but the new OS is promising. It's very interesting. It looks like it's gonna have a much faster development, which for us as a users, it's what we want, right? These radios that I have here, like the TX16S, supports OpenTX and EdgeTX. It's just a matter of changing the OS that they are running in. And if you install EdgeTX on this one today, you gain touch screen. These screens have always been touch screens since the very beginning. It's just not enabled on software. And we've been waiting for OpenTX to enable that, and it hasn't happened yet. So that's one thing that could be pretty cool. To install, test EdgeTX, test the touch screen that now you have available on the radio, and that's something that is going to make you feel like you have a completely new radio. Well, now I have presented you 10 things that you can do with your radio to customize it, make it more unique, and make it more to fit what you want. Tell me in the comments, what have you done to your radio to make it yours? And hopefully one of these things is interesting for you and you can go and test it on your own equipment. Thank you for watching and see you soon.